Hey guys, it's Andrea Schindler from Whole Brain Teaching, and I thank you to those of you who were able to join me here today. Hi Nancy. Oh, I'm tripping over cords. Okay, well that can't be a good thing. We're going to attempt to do this on my feet. We're going to see how that goes. Hey Crystal. Yesterday some things came up, so I apologize that I was not able to meet during our regular time. Hey Meredith. And I'm just thankful that you guys were able to join me here so we could talk about this awesome games list. So for those of you who are new to Whole Brain Teaching, you're actually in a really great place because I see a whole bunch of people who have joined, who've been around for a while, so you can ask the experts questions. But I'm Andrea Schindler. I'm from Whole Brain Teaching, and we're a group of teachers that get together and talk about all things whole brain teaching. And if you've never heard of it before, you definitely want to go on to the website, www.wholebrainteaching.com. You're going to want to check out, there's tons of freebies. Everything is free, actually. We joke around in Whole Brain Teaching. If you don't like anything else, you'll love our prices because everything is free. So you want to check out the website, and I've said this a billion times, but in case you're new around here, this is one of those situations where, you know how they say you get what you pay for, and meaning if you pay for something and it's really cheap, that it falls apart. Well, that's the greatest thing is Chris Biffle, the founder of Whole Brain Teaching, he just has such a passion for teachers and realizes we spend a lot of money out of our pockets, and so this is where that actually doesn't apply, because the truth is what he has on that website is beautifully designed, it's got beautiful graphics, and it's all free. So that's what's great, is you're not actually getting what you pay for because you're not paying anything, and it's a beautiful product. So check out that website. We also have a paid teachers store, and we have videos that you can check out Whole Brain Teaching. We also have Facebook groups, so you definitely want to check out our Facebook groups. We have Whole Brain Teaching Kinder, first and second, all the way on up to secondary. So find a closed group, join, talk to some WBTers from all over the United States and internationally. I was really excited because, hey Chris, so I was checking out the website, and I noted, the first, second grade closed page, and someone on there was saying that their headmaster in Europe is actually adopting what we're using and going school-wide with Whole Brain Teaching. So we are international, Philippines, Europe, Australia, we are out there. So if you've joined us, thank you so much, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. Again, my name's Andrea Schindler, and I will do my best. It's kind of hard for me. You're going to have a lot of experts out there who are going to chime in and give you guys tips and things that you can pick up. But when the questions come up, sometimes I have a hard time being able to go back and forth. So if you don't, and they also scroll up and I can't always see them. So bear with me if questions come up and I don't get to them, go ahead and ask me at the end. But I wanted to talk about, when we were talking about the back to school basics, which were the last two scopes that I did, we talked about our games list. And there was a lot in those back to school periscopes, and I felt like I had to rush through things. And as at the beginning of the school year, but also throughout the year, this games list is so powerful. I wanted to make sure to pause and make sure that you guys understand the impact that this games list can have on your class. So those of you who join me regularly know I'm not super techie. I'm going to try to flip you around and show you this games list and talk about it, but bear with me if we have any complications. I'm not always the greatest at this. So over here is our games list. And basically our games list is going to be it's your class schedule for the day. So that's the best way to say what this games list is. So if you take a look at my games list, this is where I am at this point of the year. I am 14 days into school, so my games list looks like this. Today's games list. Do you know that we make a game and a routine out of coming in the door? Yes, this is the world of Kinder. Everything is a game and a routine. All right, then we have our attendance game. We have our scoreboard game, our rules, our call-outs, our morning routine, and I'm going to come back to this where it says class yes, phonemic awareness, phonics, our class, yes. Math, tell your neighbor. Read aloud, talk to your neighbor. Oh yeah, that's why we call it games, right, Nancy? We're going to gamify. Cleanup routine, rule 1. So let me just start out by beginning of the school year. My games list more looks like what I am rolling out for the day to introduce, yes, I will, what I do to introduce the school year. So my list does not look like this. This is evolved over 14 days of school. So what might your games list look like at the beginning of the school year? Well, it's probably still going to start out with something like coming in the door, if you're doing that as a routine like I do, and you're obviously going to have attendance, but you're going to go through and you're going to go one item at a time of what you're going to roll out with. So you're going to start out probably with my games list at the beginning of the year. I started out with please okay. So one of the first things on my list is the please okay, because the first thing I'm going to teach is the please okay. Then after that, it said class yes. After that, it said the big rule. After that, it said mirror words. So I hope you're visualizing this. The first day of school, you're literally listing out every strategy that you're teaching throughout the day. So once you've got all those strategies incorporated with your students, this is how now we have turned it into a schedule of our day, but we're going to incorporate what those strategies look like. So I'm going to kind of get you a little feel for this. Yes, lots of focus. So in the morning, my students line up, and we have a routine with that. But they line up at the door, we come inside, we do our coming in the door routine, and they sit down. So then I turn to our games list for the day. As you notice, we're working on keeping our eye on the target, which is our diamond rule. And this morning, our target here was our games list. So my first game here, and I remind the students, okay, let's check our games list for the day. Oh, the first game in our games list is the coming in the door game. And I asked the students, do you remember what we do for our coming in the door game? And they tell me, and this is literally how it sounds in the class. Yes, we line up outside the door, okay? And then I ask them questions. And what do we do if we're not staying for lunch? We line up against the wall. What if we do if we are staying for lunch? We line up on the white line. Great, okay? Then we walk in the door. What do we do after that? I'm actually going to show you guys what we do after that because you can get a... But after they walk in the door, and this is actually going to evolve as the school year comes, they are going to have an apple right here. They're already made in my classroom. They have their names on them. This says home. It's like a checking in. It's like a clocking in. Okay, we are not at home anymore, friends. We are now at school, okay? So they find their name on their apple. In fact, if you guys can walk over here, I've got these apples already ready for them. But at the beginning of the year, I just want them to get used to the routine. So we're not quite looking for our names yet. This helps with name recognition, but it's also the idea of, hey, we're not at home anymore. Now we're at school. It's like we're clocking in at work here, guys. Okay, so this, my apples here. Once we get to where they're checking in, they just move their name from home to school. But at the beginning of the year, I just want them used to the routine. So I don't even add the complication of putting the names yet. At the beginning of the year, I simply have them move their hand from home to school. So it's like they're giving home a high five, waving it goodbye, and they're tagging in to school. Right afterwards, they walk up to me, who's waiting right about on the other side of this hand. They shake my hand, and then you see this walkway right here. It leads into where our backpacks are. Their backpack dance. What does that look like? They say backpack, 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 backpack. This is where it'll turn into a three-peat. It's just a long walk. And at the beginning of the year, we got to keep those mouths busy. Okay, they come into our backpack room. Here it is, backpack, backpack, backpack. They right here. Okay, and then they say seats, 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 and they sit down on the carpet here using their second grade listening bodies. And yes, I did say second grade. That wasn't me being senile. We're always thinking, looking, grade levels higher. So I gave you just a little bit of, I didn't give you a little bit, I gave you the whole thing, the whole routine. But what does that look like when we're reviewing it? We just orally review it just to remind them of the routine. Because as you guys know, at the beginning of the year, routines are everything, right? So coming in the door, and I ask the students, okay, we did our coming in the door game. What does that look like? What do we do? And they say where they line up, and I say, what do you do after that? And they say, check in from home to school. I say, then what? They say, shake your hand. Great, now what? Backpack dance. They say backpack, backpack, backpack. And I say, what do we do after that? And they say seats, seats, seats. So what does this do? This gives us a chance to review whatever that routine or that game is. Later on in the school year, I don't have to spend so much time on that. Right now, it's just oral review to make sure they can remember the routines. So we can, later on in the year, just check that off the list. Did we come in the door? Did we do our coming in the door game? Great, check it off the list. The next one is the attendance game. Now with our attendance game, we say, I'm here and happy. Why? Because several of those words are our Biffy Tune words, so I'm already teaching them the words that we're going to learn later on in the school year. And why not? Because Coach B is the one that came up with this, and I'm so blessed because he gets to come to my classroom, and it sounds a lot cooler. It gets us in a better mindset before we start the school day than saying here or that's me. So we say, I'm here and happy. So I ask the students, okay, we've come in the door, we've done that game. Now we're gonna do our attendance game. Do you guys remember what we do for the attendance game? They say, yes. What do? We say, I'm here and happy. Just a little verbal reminder to remind them, yeah, Brainies and Biffy Tunes, oh yeah, to remind them what we do with our attendance game. So I take the attendance, we move on down, and then I talk to them. Oh, look what's next on our games list. It's our scoreboard game. And I ask the students, do you guys remember about our scoreboard game? Yes, what are we working on? Thinking and looking and acting like a second grader. Well, let's see how we did in the real game at the end of the day. So we walk over our scoreboard over here. Oh, I love that. That's perfect. So we come over here. This was our practice game in the morning. Here's the real game. It's in full living color. We'll count our smileys and our frownies and determine if we have a class win. Go through our little practice. So we remind them, okay, we count our stars. We see how many we need. We need 5 more stars. And we move up to the next level. Remember, we're always working on thinking and looking and acting like a second grader. So we do a little right way, wrong way practice. We're adding in wolf versus turtle, wolf versus penguin practice. But I have them show me with wolf effort, show me their second grade listening bodies. So they sit up very tall with their hands folded. And then I say, show me preschool. So they melt and fall apart. Show me second grade. Show me preschool. So we do a little right way, wrong way practice. Show me, we just started this week. Show me second grade gestures. Great. Show me preschool. Show me second grade. Okay. And then we talk about wolf speed with that and turtle speed. Because obviously, even when you're showing me these second grade gestures, it could take you a while to lift up those hands. So I want to see that at wolf speed. Those of you who are wondering about this wolf speed that I'm throwing in, we'll be talking about this one as well, but I'm talking about our peregrine falcon display, which we'll be talking about probably starting next week, unless something else I think needs to come before. Sometimes that happens. Modeling is way huge. And let me tell you, this helps to smooth out all the kinks in our routines. If you teach above kindergarten, you can move more quickly through these things, but it's still good to have these reminders, okay? So as you saw, we've done our scoreboard game. Now we're going to move on to what's next, guys. Oh, it's our rules. We better do our rules game. So what's the rules game? It's simple. Oh, you lost me. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't take you with me. It's pretty simple. The rules game is I say the rules and you use your second grade gestures to go ahead and do these rules, and you're going to do it at wolf speed. Okay, so we go through our rules. Every morning, every time we leave the class and come back, we're going through these rules. We come back to our games list. Okay, we did our scoreboard and we did our rules. Now we got to work on our call-outs. And I know someone out there asked me about this. So our call-outs, I have this microphone. This signals to them that they are not going to execute what I'm saying. Instead, they're going to call back what I'm saying to them. So what's the difference? So if I say bodies up, they do the three-peat for that. Bodies up, bodies up, bodies up. But they're just saying it. I say bodies up, they say bodies up, bodies up, bodies up. I point the microphone to me, I point the microphone out to them so they can say the proper call response. But they're not actually standing up, so it's really quick, it's rapid fire. So I might say please, and I point to them, they say okay, please, okay, thank you. They say you're welcome. I'm holding this at the same time. All I do is hold it out and go back and forth. I might say mirror words, they say mirror words. I might say bodies up, they say bodies up, bodies up, bodies up, but they don't actually stand up. I guess I'm probably confusing you guys a little bit because we do sort of do it from the perspective of if I say mirror words, they really do say mirror words as fast as they can. Mirror words, mirror words. But when I say bodies up, they don't actually stand up. If I say backpack, they don't actually go get their backpack. If I say push in your chair, they don't actually get up off the carpet and go to the chair. I hope that that makes sense. They're all doing it within their little space on the carpet. And in fact, when I say class and they say yes, they even practice folding their hands. So I'll say class, I point to them, and they look like this. Yes. I might say class, point out to them, they say yes. I might say mirror words, I point it out to them, they say mirror words. I might say roll one, and they'll say follow directions immediately. I might say backpack, and when I point to them, they're gonna say backpack, backpack, backpack. They're just saying sitting in their seats. So I hope that kind of helps you. Call outs are rapid fire. When I get to teach, I'll say teach, they'll say okay. We do rules, we do please okay. Basically anything that you could do rapid fire callbacks, and yes, rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. Remember with whole brain teaching, we rehearse, not scold. Because if yelling worked, we'd have the most well-behaved classrooms, wouldn't we? We can't yell at them, guys. Well, kindergarten we really can't because that's just a mess of tears. But yelling doesn't work. We've got to be able to rehearse, 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 and never scold. So that's our rapid fire call outs. And I do them really quick. And let me tell you, it helps because they're responding quicker, they're responding faster, and the routines are becoming that much crisper. So where do we go from there? Well, this is the part that really, I got to tell you why. I love all this because it helps me to go back to my routines. But this is really cool, guys. So I'm gonna kind of tip this down a little bit, and I might have to come down here. But if you look right here, it says morning routine. Next to morning routine, and I'll zoom in a little bit just so you can see really quick. Around, sorry about that, guys. To all of my academic areas, morning routine. I have a whole brain teaching method next to it, class yes. During our phonemic awareness and our phonics, class yes. During math, tell your neighbor. During our read aloud, talk to your neighbor. Ooh, those sound similar. I'll tell you the difference. Cleanup routine, rule 1. So what is part of the schedule? Well, I'm going to tell you. These are different areas of the day that I am going to concentrate. I'm still going to use all my whole brain teaching tools. I don't ever not use my tools, but I'm going to highlight a specific strategy that we're all going to focus on, okay? So at the beginning of the school year, well, it's still the beginning, but not day 14. Like days 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I only concentrated on the class yes all the way through because we really have to have that attention getter down. Am I right? We wanted them to be able to stop what they're doing, look at the teacher, and fold their hands with laser light. I'm so sorry about that. Sometimes in teenager land, it's really important right that minute. So that was like 3 phone calls in a row that kept coming up. I apologize for that. So, like I said, I'm going to highlight a particular whole brain teaching strategy. And now we're texting. Oh my goodness. Anyone out there have teenagers? Okay, life cannot go on without mom. I'm so sorry. Okay, so during my morning routine, I am really gonna work on my class yes. So I'm gonna highlight this whole brain teaching area, okay? So I'm gonna remind the kids all the steps of the class yes. And so when I go to the morning routine, I tell them, right? I'm dying over here. I tell the kids, hey, look at this. We're going to work on our class yes game during our morning routine. Do you guys remember the steps for our class yes game? What do we do? And so I'll say, okay, when I say class, you say, and they say yes. Class, yes. Class, yes. All right, class, remind me, what are the steps to the class yes? And they say first, first, stop what you're doing. Next, look at your teacher. Last, fold your hands. All right, let's practice it and see how fast we can do it. So we wiggle it out, we wiggle it out, we wiggle it out. Class, yes. Oh, too slow, mighty grown. So of course I'm using my scoreboard to be able to do, to ping pong them back and forth. Let's try it again. Wiggle, and even if they are fast, guys, the game, you just do it for fun, okay? So we're gonna wiggle it out, class, yes! Oh, it was a little bit better, but not quite fast enough. Big shoulders up, and mighty grown. Okay, let's try it again. Wiggles out, wiggles out, wiggles out. Let's see if we can do it as fast as a wolf. Here we go, and class, yes! Wow, that was so much better. 1 second party, oh yeah. A little bit faster, oh yeah. A little bit louder, oh yeah. Too slow, mighty grown. So now I've ping-ponged them back and forth, and I tell them, okay, all throughout our morning routine, I'm going to be watching that you remember all 3 steps. So now they know that my focus, I'm still using all my strategies, but my focus, maybe on my scoreboard, maybe a little super improver team, especially if I'm seeing a lot of improvement, maybe I can give out some stars, but I'm going to use my class yes. It's going to be the strategy that I'm focusing on during my morning routine. Notice, for me, I'm still focusing on that during my phonemic awareness and my phonics time. Again, first days of school, it's pretty much going to be that all the way down because I really, really, really need to get their attention. At this point, I was ready to add in a few other strategies for these other subject areas. So for math, you may have noticed it says tell your neighbor. So I'm at the beginning of the school year, tell your neighbor is what I'm using before I get to my teach okay. Now, I have the blessing or the curse, however you want to look at it, the fact that I have only 11 students in my class currently. I am waiting for 13 more students who are going to be on day 22 put on a bus and brought to my school for the first time. So I'm going to have 21 days to teach my students how to be excellent models of all the routines because I get to start all over again on day 22. I'm trying to pump myself up for it. Remember, teaching is a performing art. So we'll see. Yes, I'm dying over here. I would love to be excited for 11, except for that we don't get to keep 11. I have to be at 24, and they're gonna wait until day 22. So I gotta get these kids as student leaders so they can help the others. So, yeah, no, I'm dying. Anyway, but we're gonna come back down from that. So at the beginning of the school year, I'm trying to get the kids used to partnering up and ready to transition for the Teach OK, which is a pretty, that's a pretty technical skill to be able to do the Teach OK. And they're not quite there at the beginning of the year, but as soon as, let me see, yes, 24 is my max by myself. No aides, no like teacher comes and helps me, just me, which is good because we used to be 32. And let me tell you, the opposite can be a problem. They keep all the kids at the schools that are overfilled for 21 days before they move them. I've also been I'm on the light end of it, who's gonna get all the kids. I've been on the heavy end of it where I started out with 43 kids before day 21 or day 22. Day 21 is the last day we can keep them. Day 22 is when they move them out. So I was with 21 days with 43 kids by myself. Yes. I need that, my friend. Let me tell you. Woo, I need it. Yes, we do. Preaching to the choir over here. So, what am I talking about with telling your neighbor? At the beginning of the year, I just want them to tell their neighbor information that I'm giving them. As soon as they get good at that, we're going to transition them to the Teach OK. Now, I'm at a place where I'm trying to see whether my kids should start this or whether I should wait till the next group comes in. First time this has ever happened to me where I'm having half of a class starting midway through, or not midway through, I don't know why I'm exaggerating, but like 21 days after. That's not midway. I don't know where I came up with midway. It just seems like a long time to wait for kids, okay? But I got to get my mind wrapped around this, not midway through. So what am I doing with Tell Your Neighbor? Well, we're talking right now about shapes. So I'm still teaching my 5-step lesson template. I call the class, they say yes. I do my mirror words, they do their mirror words, and I'm going to teach them the concept using my 5 steps. So I call the class, I give them the question, I give them the answer, but instead of saying teach, they tell their neighbor. So what does that look like? So that looks like they turn and they talk to their neighbors. Some of them are still very shy. Some of them still don't know English, and that's okay because we just started school. Got a lot of non-English speakers over here. So they kind of turn, they kind of look. We're working on getting used to trying to tell your neighbor the information I'm saying. And so what does that look like? I might tell the students the question, and they turn to their neighbor. The question for today is, what is a square? Ask your neighbor, what is a square? And they say, what is a square? Okay, and then I teach them the answer. A square is a flat shape. Tell your neighbor, a square is a flat shape. So we're practicing a lot of tell your neighbor during math while I'm doing these direct instruction type of 5-step lessons, okay? Now, what is the difference between that and down here at the read aloud, we're talking about talk to your neighbor, okay? Well, when I'm reading out loud, I stop and have the students talk to their neighbor about things like, what do you predict will happen next? What's happened so far? And we are evaluating the story. If we like the story, why or why not? So this is a little different because it's free talking. I'm giving them something directed to talk about, but I'm not spoon feeding them the information. They're actually coming up with original information. Pretty soon here, hopefully we'll be ready to jump into Teach OK. Just not sure how that's going to look right now because of my class changing, but we'll see. Down here at the bottom for my cleanup routine, you might have noticed Rule 1. What is Rule 1? Follow directions quickly, okay? So we're working on following directions quickly for our cleanup routine. So how fast can we, when I say crowns, they say crowns, 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 and they put away their crayons. How fast can we when I say check your floors? They check their floors to make sure they didn't drop anything. How fast can we when I say fix your tables, that they fix their tables? And how fast can we do that pack up routine, backpack, 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 cubbies, 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 and seats, seats, seats. So are we following rule number 1 at a penguin pace? Or are we following rule number 1 at a wolf's pace? So I'm looking to see that they are doing the wolf's pace. And we're going to be bumping that up. Yes, they do love it. And as I know that my dear friend Nancy, I thought it was you, Nancy. I might need glasses. I hope not, but that seems far away right now. What we have to do is we have to make sure, obviously, we want to see how fast and efficient we do it. We don't want to do it fast and crazy or fast and sloppy or fast and unsafe. It's sharp, fast. How quick can we do it? And let's see if we can do it at wolf speed carefully. So this is our games list. At the beginning of the year, like I said, you're just going to list out the different routines that you're rolling out each day. And then as the days go by, now you're going to keep the routines for a quick review. Each time you do a new area, you come back to it and you talk about, hey, now we're doing math. With math, we're going to work on telling your neighbor. Let's remember what to do when we tell our neighbor. Look at your neighbor. Look at me. Look at your neighbor. Look at me. Look at your neighbor. Look at me. Look at your neighbor. Say neighbor. Neighbor. When we're talking, you got to talk with me. You got to talk with me. So I'm practicing those strategies that I'm highlighting, and I'm doing a review of how it works as I go through my games list. Now, there is another component to this, and of course this list is going to evolve over the school year. You're going to change up the strategies you're going to focus on, and you're going to notice different times of the day, different routines are going to start to crumble. So that's, or not get as sharp and efficient, and that's when you're going to want to plug in different routines going down your games list. You may have noticed the color coding. So for our color coding, this green represents 2 grade levels higher, okay? But as the year goes on, my kiddos should get really good at doing our, at doing our class yes really quickly. So now I'm not looking for 2 grade levels higher. I might change the colors up for 3 grade levels higher or even 5 grade levels higher. So if you take a look at our colors here, these are going to designate even faster speed, because now we're not just doing something at 2nd grade level, now we're going to 3rd grade or 5th grade level. So this is how we're going to even bump it up even more. Since this is the first year with our Peregrine Falcon display, my green is wolf speed. But guess what? As the year goes on, I am not staying on wolf speed. We're going to be moving up to marlin speed, and we're going to be moving up to hawk speed. We're going to keep bumping things up to the next level. I'm so sorry, my friend. Our blue is 3 and our red is 5. Okay? But I'm going to move things up to marlin speed. I'm going to move things up to hawk speed. But you know what? I don't think you guys are ready for Peregrine Falcon speed. No, I don't think we can do that, guys. You know, let me tell you, maybe you might be ready for that on day 100. We'll see. Have them beg you to do things at Peregrine Falcon speed. Keep that in your back pocket, my friends, because that's going to be the best feeling you've ever had when your students are begging you to do their routines faster and better. Thank you, Nancy, for putting that on there. So we've got 2 grade levels, we've got 3 grade levels higher, and we've got 5 grade levels higher. Or in our Peregrine Falcon land, we have got, here we are at wolf speed, okay? Here we are at black marlin speed, and here we are at red hawk speed. But we're going to hold off on that Peregrine Falcon because I don't know if you could handle that kind of speed. Do you see what I'm saying? So much fun. And for those of you who are out there going, I don't even know what animals you're talking about, don't worry. We're going to talk about the Peregrine Falcon display. We're going to talk about how it's rolling out, because this is the first time I've done it at the beginning of the school year. Last year I started in the middle of the school year. So it's interesting to see how we roll out from day 1. So here's your games list. I hope you guys decide to put this in your class. I'm telling you, by far, number 1, as a teacher, if you're just starting out using whole brain teaching, the games list helps us to remember the strategies that we need to remember to use. Because let's face it, whole brain teaching has got all kinds of tools for us to use, and sometimes, if we've been teaching a while, we slip back into our old ways and our old habits. So this games list is actually going to be a place for me to check in with my students, but it's a good place for me to check in with myself to remember to utilize all my whole brain teaching strategies. It's also going to be a great place for you to go back to recenter the students and remind them of routines that you're working on perfecting and you're working on making even better. Have it evolve over the school year so that not only are you changing up the strategies, but you are also going to bump it up by how fast and how efficient they do it, by bumping it up 2 grade levels higher. Then remember, we've got our 3 grade levels higher and our 3 grade levels higher blue and 5 grade levels higher red, as well as tying it in with our Peregrine Falcon display at wolf level, black marlin level, and red hawk level. But hold off on that Peregrine Falcon. So thank you guys for joining me here. Thank you for coming on another day. Hopefully nothing else comes up in my schedule for next week, and I will be on during our regular time next Tuesday at 4 o'clock Pacific time. Bye, everybody out there, and I just want to thank all you guys. Thank you, Crystal, Nancy, Christina. Thank you guys for coming here and joining me, and Meredith, and I'm so glad you guys, anyone else out there with teens, have fun with them. Bye, everybody.